You'll be the greatest salesperson in the world if you find out what they want and find out what bothers them. What bothers them, don't hit that button. What they want, hit that button and communicate with positive reinforcement. The 7 C's. The first C you want to control is the clock. Time is the only equal opportunity employer. We're each given 168 hours a week to spend, but none to save. Scientists can't invent more minutes. So therefore, we only have this time, and we have all there is. Each of us has all there is while living. And here's what I recommend. I wasted many years watching television. I got tired of my monotonous job, so when I got home, I just wanted to lean back and break open a soft drink and just watch somebody else. It was kind of fun. A little laughter here, a little music here, a little game show here, and the next thing you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years went by. I was spending the most important part of my life watching other people making money, having fun in their profession. Oh my gosh. I was watching in prime time instead of living in prime time. Do you do that very much? Well, you have to be very careful, because if you're not careful, you'll end up my age not able to do the things that you wanted to make the money to be able to do after you made enough money to be able to not work. And instead of being things that are tension relieving, you want to do things that are life achieving. During prime time, which is 6 to 11 p.m., I beg you, spend more time with your family. Spend more time reading, networking, working on your book. Write your book. Don't think about it. Don't put it on someday I'll. Write your book. Make that call. Call your mom. Send a note. Live in prime time. Don't watch in prime time. If I could live my life again, I would watch less and be more engaged. That's the clock. The next thing you control is your concepts. And you control what's in this imagination of yours, and don't let other people put their images into your mind. Keep your own images by controlling what you think about. Don't be groupthink. Don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the mob. Go with your values. Go with your why. Go with your core. You control your concepts. Very important. You control your causes. And a cause is your why. What you would do just for food. What you would give your life up for. What cause is so important to you that you would do it no matter what. We each need a cause like that, and that becomes our why. You control that. Don't let anyone else control your causes. You control your commitments. And a commitment is something that you're willing to give your effort and your time to that precious period of time where you're committed to that cause because you know it benefits you and everyone around you. So make sure that your commitments match your cause and you're using the clock for those important things. The next thing you control is your contacts. You control which Facebook groups you join. You control which communities you're in. You can't control everyone you live with and you work with. We're given those many times, and those are choices we need to work with. You can't control your boss. Sometimes you have to work with someone that may be a little more difficult than you'd like, but you do control the contacts, people who are precious to you, your friendships. Try to hang around with people who are slightly more, shall we say, enlightened, successful, optimistic, positive. I used to want to hang around with people who were not as good golfers as me. That way I could be better than them. And it was always good to play with somebody not as good as me because it made me feel important. Much better to play with people who are better than you because you learn from them. So I like to hang around better husbands, better fathers, better friends, better children, better writers, better speakers, better philosophers, better teachers. I want to hang around with people that can give me value. And I want to hang around with optimists. So if you can, the contacts you have, make sure that you at least spend lunch or a little bit of time after work with a network of people who have the same goals, who have the same values, or are trying to solve problems. Not people who have the same problem, but people who are solving problems or who have already solved your problem. You control your contacts, those important friends that you have so close to you. The next thing you control, of course, is your communication. And I need to learn. I was given 2 big ears and 1 big mouth. If I could learn to shut my big mouth and open my 2 ears, I would learn a lot more by listening, taking in, measuring, engaging, than I would by talking. When I talk, I learn nothing, but when I listen, I learn everything. So I need to ask questions. So if you must speak, ask more questions. You'll be the greatest salesperson in the world if you find out what other people's hot buttons are. Find out what they want and find out what bothers them. What bothers them, don't hit that button. What they want, hit that button and communicate with positive reinforcement to help people get what they want. You control your communications. You can listen, you can speak softly, you can yell, you can do all those things. You're in control. The next thing you control, of course, is your concerns. And your concerns is the way you handle difficult times and difficult people. What's so important today is to be solid, calm, in control, common sense, clear vision, unafraid, alert, bringing your A game to the table. This is the time when you're totally responsible for being at your very best and not expecting someone else. Remember, we're interdependent on everyone, but we're independent in what we choose to do as a result of this interdependent connectedness. So use your concerns to be part of the solution. And finally, I used to give a workshop, maybe for 20 years, all about the Serenity Prayer. And as you may remember, the Serenity Prayer by Reinhold Niebuhr is one of the greatest long prayers, is part of a bigger prayer, but here's what it says. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Give me the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. What I did is change that into 3 important personal responsibility messages. First one, accept the unchangeable. Everything that has happened to this moment in time is history. You cannot change history. You can only learn from it. You cannot rewrite it. You cannot regurgitate it. History is what it is, and we learn from it. So accept the unchangeable. Your past is history. Dwell on the good moments. Rest on the good moments. But it's there. You don't live there anymore. Don't live there. Change the changeable. You cannot change other people. You cannot change society all at once. You cannot change the way they think, the way they are, the way they do. You cannot make somebody else be like you want them to be. You can control your response ability. How you respond to what happens is extremely important because you need to make sure that you're using the learning so you don't repeat what happened before. So you change the changeable. What I do is say, okay, so what's the next step? What do we need to do to make this better right now? I take a deep breath. And the anger I may feel, the sadness I feel, the frustration I feel, but I need my continence and I need to say, okay, that has just happened. I cannot change that, but what I can change is what I do next. And that is the most important decision you'll ever make in your life is what you do in this moment. Because every momentary decision completely alters your own history of your future. Your destiny is altered minute by minute. Every decision you make has a logical consequence or reward of each action. And you must make use of that to make it work for you rather than against you. So that's why I say, accept the unchangeable. It happened. I don't like it. I don't want it. It's fertilizer. I don't like the smell, the taste. I don't want it, but I need to grow from it and I need to do something. And after you've, shall we say, changed the changeable, your next thought and action, you need to start thinking about contingency planning and taking responsibility for your future. And that's what I call remove myself from the unacceptable. And therefore, here's what I do. I make sure that my gas tank is half full. I make sure my cell phone is charged. I make sure that when I go somewhere to do something that I don't automatically put myself in harm's way. Because I realize we live in a very dangerous world. Hey, things happen. So I'm trying to teach my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to plan ahead, to think about what could happen. If then, what if? Then what do we do? So they charge their cell phone. They don't travel alone at night in a strange place. They don't get caught off guard. They don't have a flat tire and not know what to do. In other words, they remove themselves from situations that could cause unacceptable kinds of problems. And I think in a world that's fast forward with more changes in one day than in a decade of our grandparents' lives, each of us needs to make sure that we're planning ahead. Which brings me down to the conclusion of what I want to say, and probably the most important of all. You're responsible for your financial security. You alone are responsible for what you will have when you're my age. And when you're my age, you will not want to live in a senior home. You will not want to live in a nursing home. You will not want to be dependent on grandchildren or children. You will not want to live in a government facility. You may not want to live in a tent. You don't want to be homeless. So what you want when you're my age, golden years of dignity. You want your dignity as an individual, self-sustaining individual who's proud to have done what he or she has done to take care of myself so that I don't become dependent on somebody else. The greatest thrill of all is to know that you were able to take care of yourself in trying times.